Hello friendos and randos, welcome back to another video, this time with the semi-finals of the Championship 25-26 Season 2 3-on-3 Autumn in Tokyo. And right now we are in the semi-finals and we see both teams have the same lineup but all in different positions, so we're not going to see any mirror matches in this round. We're gonna see Dokuda Kaizokudan versus DAK, and we're probably gonna see the table one, which is the red blue ace player into the green Zoro player. And if you're familiar with how the meta is supposed to play out, you can see that DAK actually has two favorable matchups here, with the green Zoro into the red blue ace and the red blue ace into the Black Imu. But the Zoro player will have to overcome the Black Imu player on the side of DAK. Now, let's head right into the games and see which table we are going to be watching. I am going to assume it's going to be that red blue ace versus green Zoro matchup. That can be quite a difficult time for the red blue ace player because of the amount of pressure that green Zoro can apply. But it looks like we are going to be watching Black Imu versus red blue ace instead. So it is going to be quite an anticipated matchup. This is two of the best decks in the OP13 format, and you can see that from the spread of the leaders in our top cut today. Out of all 16 teams, every single team is on Black Imu and only one team is not on that red blue ace. But both of the teams we are looking at now are going to be on the same three leaders. The Imu has to go first right now, which is of course not the preferred turn order that you choose when you're going on this Black Imu. But let's look at the starting hands. We have the Searcher event available for the Imu player, so that will be a very nice little addition to his hand. Other than that, he also has the 10 cost 5 Elder Stars and also Saturn and Jupiter already available, both of which are really good cards to have as well. His 3-Dawn turn is currently looking a little bit empty, but maybe with this Searcher event we can pick up something like the Saint Sharia in order to search a little bit more into the deck. Meanwhile, for the Ace player, we do see two 10 costs, the Blocker and the Tax Newgate from OP08, alongside a Izo Searcher, the 8 cost I Am Whitebeard event, and the 6 cost Jozu as well. I believe Ace is wanting to find a 4-cost Marco off of this 1-cost Izo play. However, if he isn't able to, I think he will be happy to just attach most of his Dawn and punch into the Imu. Or if he finds another Searcher, he can use the Jozu on the 6th Dawn turn to return both the Searchers to hand, giving him effectively a +2, which is also very nice in this matchup. That being said, heading into this matchup, the Imu is slightly unfavored, especially if forced to go first. But let's see how it all turns out. Let's start off with the Imu's 1 Dawn play. Here we go. We are not going to use the Searcher first. We are going to first use our leader effect, discarding the 5 Elder Stars, looking for more early game plays instead. We are going to see Warcury. We are going to see the Mars, as well as a 1-cost Never Existed, and he will be taking that counter event to hand. Very useful against aces, very large swings. Aces turn now, drops the Izo to search, looking for that 4-cost Marco, does not find it just yet. Does have the 10-cost Blocker Newgate instead as an option, which is also a pretty nice pickup to have. You do want to play multiple of these in this matchup, and that is basically the entirety of red blue aces game plan. Azu here will now attach 1 Dawn on the ace leader in case of a big swing coming from Genki, and instead will allow him to draw a card if he does decide to take damage. Now, Genki doesn't have a second Searcher to play just yet, but did draw into a Warcury, so can play that down next turn as well. Will be using his leader effect, discarding that Warcury he just drew, looking for more Searchers or cards, instead just finds that one cost never existed. Now, for the Black Imu side of things, he does have the option to just go for a big 6k or a big 8k swing here, because if Azu has the 4-cost Mako, he will be playing the 4 Dawn play and only go for a 6k swing, which he can counter out with this Saint Guard. But because he does not want to give Azu more cards, he will just go for a pass, giving 3 Dawn up as well as not letting Azu draw more cards. Azu probably mulliganed this game, and also of his 1-cost Izo did not find that 4-cost Mako. So I think this is a very good decision by Genki to just not let Azu find his curve if possible. Azu now will play 1 to get another Izo onto the board. Look at the top 5 cards. For another Whitebeard Pirates type card, already has the Jozu as well as the I Am Whitebeard and 2 of the blocker Whitebeard as well, flashing his search to his friend. This is the benefit of the 3-on-3. You can kind of show each other your hand, just have that teammates and camaraderie here. But does have 2 options here: the 4-cost Mako just 1 turn late, and also the Tax Newgate from OP08. Instead, he can choose to take one of these options. He will go for that Tax Newgate from OP08, giving him a second body to play. This Tax Newgate, of course, really good when played back to back, so having 2 in hand is really nice to see. Here's a 3 Dawn attached 9k swing into the face of Genki. He will take it, looking for more cards and more options. Will go down to 3 life now. 3 Dawn open, but will not be using that counter event since this is a 9k swing. Now 5 Dawn turn for the side of Genki. Hand size is getting a little bit large and in the danger zone for something like a pudding. Has 8 cards in hand right now, I believe, and this turn is the turn that Genki is going to start swinging at leader instead. 6k swing will try to force 1 card out of Azu's hand or force him down to 2 life instead, both of which would be decent outcomes for Genki if you are able to get a life with only a 6k swing. Azu though does have a second Jozu in hand, so will discard that for 1k counter. Now leader effect discarding a Mars, and we're going to use the empty throne, tap 3 Dawn and play down a Saint Saturn J Garcia. We're looking at top 5 of the deck, looking for a 5 Elders card, specifically Jupiter, Nazjuro, and I believe War Curie. No, another Saturn are the options for the search this time. I believe a Nazjuro has not been found just yet, so this could be a great option for this Saturn to pick up. Otherwise, the second Saturn to look a little bit deeper in the deck, or Jupiter as a 2k counter would be great options, and it will be that Saint J Garcia Saturn as the option. Maybe looking for even more pieces next turn, and with only 1 Dawn active, we're looking at countering out of the next hit. This is pretty well countered by Genki. If Azu is playing either the 4-cost Marco or a 5-cost Yamato, it will be a 8k swing into Genki's leader, which he can respond with just 1 card, the Never Existed. Now, notably, there's only 6 cards in the trash of Genki, so because he didn't counter out last turn, this Jozu is going to be able to remove the same J Garcia Saturn from the board of Genki. So not looking too happy with that. However, does draw into another searcher now, and with that counter the previous turn, he does finally have 7 cards in trash, so we'll be able to do, for example, play a 4-cost Saturn and then use the empty throne to play another 5 Elder card onto the board. Unfortunately, Jozu is a 6-cost, which means it will be not a legible target for the 6-cost Marcus Mars that you see in the middle of Genki's hand right there. And if Genki were to go for 2 different Elders here, he would have to use all of his Dawn and not leave any open for a counter event, which could be very crucial for this next turn. Azu does have the 8-cost I Am Whitebeard event, and using that plus the 10-cost blocker Newgate from OP13, he will be able to attach 2 Rested Dawn to both his leader and this 6-cost Jozu, and then swing in for 8k with the leader and 9k with the Jozu. This will take quite a bit of counter out of Genki if he is not prepared for this and he doesn't have a small blocker like Charlos or even the top man Valkyrie to go alongside it. Let's see what he decides to do though. He can go for this 1-cost Saint Sharia. We did see him play the 2-cost Saint Charlos as well, so could look for one of those as an option. And instead, first we will see a 6k swing from leader into the leader of the Red Blue Ace. No Dawn attached to Azu's leader this time, so if he takes the damage here, he won't be able to draw an additional card. But he does have that 1-cost blue Izo that he picked up off of this Jozu and can use that to counter very easily, or can just use his leader effect to discard a non-counter card. Instead, he will take this card to draw a little bit more. Wants to look at more cards as well. Here is the 1 Dawn rested for Saint Sharia. We'll look at 3 cards here. That is Marizua, that is the Saint Topman Valkyrie, and also the 5 Elders are at your service. He can grab that to search a little bit deeper if he wants, but is just going to grab the Saint Topman Valkyrie to hand. Now discarding a card for the effect of Saint Sharia before using the Emu leader effect to discard Saint Sharia from the board to draw a card, most likely making that a net neutral play. Now we're going to see him thinking of discarding this Mars, and that is going to be the choice here. Leader effect now, discarding that Sharia, draws another card, not a second blocker, but will still be able to play the Valkyrie here. No, instead is going for the Saturn, looking a little bit deeper into the deck again. He does have a couple of options here. Nasjuro and Never Existed, and also the Searcher event are all options, but does go for another Never Existent, building up the counter in hand even more. Azu's turn now will have the 8 Dawn, very crucial turn. Now will go I am Whitebeard, and appear on the board will be Whitebeard himself. 10 cost blocker, OP13 Newgate on play, draw 2 cards, discard 1, making this a fantastic 10 cost card. Not only that, it is a 12k power blocker. On top of all of it, he draws into another 10 cost Newgate, the third one now that he has seen. But we're likely going to see a very perfect curve from Azu. Next turn, we will see another 10 cost blocker Newgate, and then after that, we can see the 2 OP08 tax Newgates come down after Genki has played his 10 cost 5 Elder Stars. 8k swing from the Ace leader is countered out by a Never Existed. Now Jozu's 9k swing boosted by his captain Edward Newgate, now countered out by a Never Existed and the Saint Saturn as well. Back to Genki's turn, only at 9 Dawn, isn't able to use his 5 Elders just yet, but he does have that Nasjuro in hand, can play that down and try to contest on this Jozu. Will tap the Empty Throne, and there it is, the Saint v Nasjuro now swinging with his rush, as well as when attacking effect. If your trash is 10 cards or more, will give one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 for the turn. Now Azu's Jozu is down to 5,000 base power, which makes it a power weaker than his leader currently. Azu just has to think about whether he wants to let this go or not, because if he does, he will of course lose that very powerful 7,000 power attack on the following turn. He's considering using the Izo's effect on opponent's attack to trash himself, draw 1 card and then bottom 1 card into his deck. He draws into a Garp, will send a 5 cost Yamato to the bottom of his deck. Effectively, nothing changes in the amount of counter power in his hand, but he does want to look for more cards still. I believe the 10 cost Roger would be a great option. Here it is considering to just take that hit or block with the blocker Newgate. I think this is a low risk block with only 6 Dawn left available, and Genki having already tapped the Empty Throne. This will at least force the leader or this Saturn to swing, but instead it's going to be the Jozu let go, and with the leader effect 1 Dawn attached, will be able to draw another card. Azu's hand size now up to 9 total already. So very happy to have such a large number of cards in hand. Genki now has to invest quite a bit in order to get another hand card out of Azu. 1 Dawn on leader, 1 Dawn on Saturn, in order to try and push for 1 card only from Azu. Now, what will be the play? He does have that Valkyrie, can play that down to just block this 10 cost Newgate's next attack and leave 2 Dawn open. 1 will be enough to counter out of the Ace Leader's attack with the Never Existed. It is going to be that Valkyrie on the board. Now we're going to see the Leader effect. What will be removed from Genki's board now? He will drop Jupiter into the trash. Back to Azu again. He will have 10 Dawn and this time can go for that blocker Newgate one more time back to back, really developing his board very big, and this is looking like perfect curve so far for Azu. Will be able to put down that blocker and then get 2 Dawn on his leader, 2 Dawn on this blocker Newgate, force 8k swing into that Nazjuro, and then 14k swing as well with the blocker Newgate, or he can just leave it standing as well. He may also be considering just playing the Tax Newgate to prevent something like a Jupiter play from Genki. Maybe he's trying to be a little bit more patient and not go for that 10 cost just yet. Azu though does have a couple of options between the 10 cost Newgate and the 10 cost Tax Newgate from OP08. What will be the choice? Genki though only 5 cards in hand in comparison to Azu's 9 cards in hand total. Here is the Tax Newgate now. Because Azu is at 2 life, will force Genki to use discard 2 cards if there is if he wants to attack this turn. But in response to this, what he can do is just play the 10 cost 5 Elder Stars and not swing with them this turn. Leave them on the board to be a 12k attacker the following turn as well. However, this is a little bit risky as Genki does not have a second one available to use the following turn should that first one get red rocked by Azu, and that is a real concern that he should have as well. However, he is looking at the options he does have. He has separated the 3 Dawn away for that Empty Thrones effect and will be using that this turn. Just depends what he will be putting out. It is going to be 3 Dawn attached to the Imu leader, instead going for an 8k swing. Azu does have to either counter with a leader effect plus 1 card, or he will have to block with this 10 cost Newgate. Remember, because of the 10 cost Tax Newgate's effect, he won't be able to attack with his current board unless he discards 2 cards from hand, and Azu may think that that puts him in a safe position. So with that Newgate block, what will be the play? He is going to block this 8k swing from the Newgate. Now leader effect will discard Saturn, draw another card, and the Empty Throne is going to be tapped. We're going to see the 10 cost 5 Elder Stars now appear on the board. 1 Dawn rested now using his effect, discarding a card from hand in order to play 5 different 5 Elders cards from his trash with 5000 base power or less. Really is going to show you the power of the Imu summoning. Let's see what he discards first. He will discard the Equilibrium of the World, cannot be maintained forever. Now will play all 5 Elders from the trash. Here is Mars, here is Jupiter. Now his board is all going to be plus 2k. Saturn now uses his effect, looking for top 5. There is the second 10 cost 5 Elder Stars, will be able to use that next turn as well. Remember, this Nazjuro has Rush, so will not be affected by the effect of the Tax Newgate. Will go for a 10k swing now with that Nazjuro. Is not going to be countered. Azu is just going to take that hit. Second time in this game now that Azu has been forced to take a life without 1 Dawn on leader. However, is still going to be pretty happy with his current board state. If Azu goes for another 10 cost Tax Newgate here, he could prevent Genki from making any progress in the game. He also has drawn into the 8 cost I Am Whitebeard event, so will be able to leave Dawn open to attach to his leader or use this Radical Beam that he has in hand as well. So what is going to be the play from Azu now? He does have that or the blocker Newgate as options. He can also go for that Newgate into 2 cost for the Uta as well, but currently is just going to go for the guard, maybe looking for that Goldie Roger, which will be a very crucial way for him to go and push through for lethal. There is the Gold Roger, indeed it is found. His birth father who never met but has still shown his will throughout the series. 8 Dawn is picked up by Azu. He's considering the line here. He could just go for more blockers instead, but will just say, I am Whitebeard. And here is Whitebeard, the man himself, taxes the board, does not use the plus 2k of the 8k 8 cost event to put Azu at that 8k base leader just yet, but will just full pass here with 1 Dawn open, not attached to the leader. Will use that for the radical beam instead. Now Genki has the option to just full pass as well. Leader effect can send one of these elders to the trash to draw another card. Let's see what he decides to do. One option he has is to leave the 10 cost elders on the board now. Once again, he doesn't have a second one in hand, but I think he shouldn't be too worried of a red rock play this turn anymore. We've already seen Azu getting ready for a lethal turn with the 10 cost Goldie Roger now added. Here is another 5 elders at your service. Can use that to search for even more 10 cost elders. We're looking at a bunch of Dawn picked up now by Genki. Maybe he's going for a big swing. How many cards are in trash? Is the Empty Throne secondary effect on yet? He's only at 15, so isn't able to go just yet. The 1 cost event though will allow him to put 3 cards in trash, could put him just a little bit closer, but I believe is not going to be enough just yet. Would still put him at only 18. So he would have to discard 1 more card, and he's already used his leader effect as well this turn, so is not going to be available just yet. Let's see now though what is Genki going to do this turn. Does not have that 6k base leader just yet. Also doesn't have other options like the 1 cost Shirahoshi to try and tax Azu's hand this turn when he cannot attack without paying with his hand cards. However, with so many hand cards available, maybe he might decide to just try to push a little bit of damage, paying some of these hand cards to dodge something like the 4 cost pudding. We are still going to have quite a bit of One Piece left in our tanks, fellas. 1 Dawn now attached to the Imu leader by Genki, still spreading out, doing the math. 11 minutes left in the round. We're going to expect this game to go probably all the way to time. This matchup does tend to be a little bit on the slower side. 1 Dawn now going to be attached maybe to this Imu leader, but no, it's maybe even going onto this Nazjuro. He really might be considering to commit some cards from his own hand in order to try and push for some damage. First, it is going to be 3 Dawn on the leader though. 8k swing now with the Imu into Azu's face. 2 cards to counter out of this. The new gate is held on to, maybe considering the block, but also still worried about something like this Nazjuro going into swing, making it down to 10k, and then another Nazjuro coming down, making it a 8k attacker. That being said, 3k counter is still going to be a bit of a painful ask for Azu. I don't think he wants to let go of that if possible. We are going to hold on to that 10 cost, maybe use that to block, or maybe not. Will be a good way to defend himself. And remember, Azu left 1 Dawn open for the radical beam. I'm sure Genki is also cognizant of that. And there is the block from the 10 cost new gate now. 3 Dawn now put to the sky by Genki. Will this be the empty throne playing down the 10 cost 5 Elder Stars, or will it be attached to this Nazjuro to try and push more damage onto Azu? Really wants to get a 10k swing here off if possible. Although Azu will lose Radical Beam and 1k counter, it is still going to be good to make Azu lose those cards. And I think Genki also wants to play around that Charlotte Pudding if possible. He already has 8 cards in hand. After all, it is going to be a powerful turn for Genki regardless. We are seeing those 3 Dawn now attached to the Nazjuro. Will go for a 10k swing into the leader of Azu, putting him down to 0. Discarding 2 different cards is going to -2 to the blocker Newgate. 10k swing will be 5k counter. First, Azu has to use his leader effect, but instead we'll just use the Radical Beam plus Atmos for 1k. Will not be using the leader effect just yet. 3 Dawn now rested for the 5 Elder Stars. Will play it on the board and pass turn to Azu, leaving a 12k attacker for Genki the following turn. This is the primary strategy. Again, against this 10 cost OPO8 tax Newgate, just leaving this 10 cost on the board, having that big attacker and forcing you to block with your blocker Newgate or one of your other blockers, which fortunately for Azu, he does have that 2/6 cost reduced to 2 cost Uta in hand to support him and provide him with some very valuable defense. I think Azu really wants to push Genki down on life right now though. Genki making a very cognizant play, discarding the 2 cards to trade for Azu's 2 cards as well, and at the same time playing around the Charlotte Pudding that we do see in Azu's hand. So fantastic heads up play by Genki of the Dokuda Kaizokudan to try and make it to the finals of the season 2 3-on-3 autumn here in Tokyo. 10 Don available for Azu though. What is going to be the play? We do see still 8 cards in hand for Azu despite having to lose quite a bit of hand size last turn. He's still fairly healthy, and this is all without having played any Marcos or any Yamatos in this game thus far. He does have an Otama, so he could also use that to try and look for that crucial 6 cost red rock to remove that 10 cost 5 Elder Stars, but right now isn't in his hand. He doesn't have a Garp as well. It is just going to be a 12k swing from this tax. Newgate will be blocked by Saint Topman Warcury. On KO will draw a card for Genki, putting him up to 6 cards in hand now. The Charlotte Pudding is still an option. Will put the entire hand from Genki back into the deck, and Genki will shuffle that in. Now all of the cards that he may or may not have memorized sent to the bottom by Saint Saturn no longer a factor. Will draw into 5 new cards before the next 2 swings that come in from Azu's leader and this tax Newgate and that blocker Newgate as well. Will draw into 5 new cards, is hoping to find another counter event. Never existed or the equilibrium would be fantastic. He finds one of each, so is going to be happy to see both of that. Also has a 2k counter if there's only going to be a 6k swing from the leader of Azu. It is going to be a 6k swing only. 2k counter will do the trick. That is going to be that Saint Jupiter will counter out, and it is going to be protected. Genki still stays at 3 life. Now the second tax OPO8 Newgate may be swinging for 12, maybe swinging for a little bit more. Azu does have to think through his last couple of plays in this game. There's only going to be another 6.5 minutes left on the clock, and we're expecting maybe another 3 turns left only. In the meantime, you can see Dokuda Pirates has already won their table 1 game. I believe that is the ace into the Zoro, winning his negative matchup here. Now 12k swing from this 10 cost OPO8 Newgate will now have to either be taken or blocked by Genki. He does still have the Saint Marcus Mars on the board, but maybe he wants to protect this Nazjuro on board instead, or try to push a little bit more damage. It is going to be blocked by Mars, and now 6 Dawn still available for Azu. It looks like he's going to rest all 6 to play both the Uta and the Mako that he has in hand, and just develop a big wall of blockers to prevent Genki from taking his head and securing the victory for the Dokuda Pirates in the Season 2 3-on-3 Autumn Tournament. Azu still has 5 minutes plus left on the clock. Really wants to make sure he makes the right decision here, because his teammate has already lost every move of his, counts even more. 12k swing now from the blocker Newgate, wants to push Genki down to 2 life and push him down. He does. 2 Dawn now for the Uta, gets that discount. 4 Dawn now for the Mako. He will on KO get to draw 2 cards again. So in a very good position defensively. Genki though does have that 12k attacker, 10 cost 5 Elder Stars on the board alongside his 2 7k attackers with the Jupiter and the Nazjuro. For the fans at home, if you haven't played with this specific interaction yet, just make sure that if you want to do this, you do have to trash Saint Jupiter before you attack with your 10 cost Elder Stars, or they will become a base power of 7,000 instead of the 12,000 printed on the card. Genki here doesn't have another 5 Elder Stars to park on the board, but does have quite a bit bit of attacks available, we can expect this 4-cost Marco to be used to block the attack of this 10-cost 5 Elder Stars. But we can see Genki's hand actually has a 6-cost Mars available, so he can pay 3 to KO that Marco before the 5 Elder Stars swing, and that would let Genki have a big attack unhindered. First, let's see how Genki does the math here. This is going to be either the second last or the last turn for him. If he is going to push Azu to 0 life, he does have that Goldie Roger we saw him pick up just a bit earlier, and that could spell lethal for Genki if he doesn't have enough counter. And as we see in his hand right now, he's holding on to 2 counter events, as well as that Mars, 2 Saint Charlos, as well as a Saint Top Man Valkyrie. But with 3 blockers, they aren't going to help you in the face of the king of the pirates himself. So let's see what the play is going to be for Genki here. He is going to count out all of his Dawn. What is the play? With only 3 minutes left on the clock, is going to be really important to play this last couple of turns quickly, but at the same time it's important not to rush and make any hasty mistakes as well. Remember, 1 Dawn is also needed to use that 5 Elder Stars effect. 1 Dawn now attached to Saint Jupiter, going for an 8k swing. If this blocks, we will allow Azu to draw a couple extra cards, and Azu is also firmly aware that if this 5 Elder Stars transforms into the 5 Elder Stars onto his board, that means Mars will also be coming down alongside the rest of the Elders and KOing this Marco, so he may want to block with this a little bit earlier. Remember, Uta, despite him only paying 2 costs for it, is actually a 6-cost blocker, so is not a target for that Marcus Mars just yet. Azu has to think of whether he wants to counter this 8k swing. Remember, if he does, he can also lose that 4-cost Marco to a Marcus Mars from hand, and I'm sure he does not want to do that. But if he blocks this with the 4-cost Marco, then Genki has the option to just split 3 ways and try to push for lethal from that spot. So Azu has to do the math, has to consider what the play is going to be. With that Goldie Roger in hand, of course he doesn't want to let go of that either, and because there's no 1 Dawn on his leader, he won't be able to draw an extra card. So let's find out what is going to be the play on the opposite end of the table. We are going to see the DAK table 3 win, so this match matters all the more. The winner of this will decide which team makes it to the finals. Is going to be such a crucial game. They're in the middle of both their teammates, and all of them are hoping that their side wins. Is going to be such an important match for both of these players. Azu did take the 8k swing here from the Saint Jupiter, and now we're looking at maybe another 8k swing from this horse that we have on board, the Nasjuro, which will again need a 3k counter from Azu to overcome. Let's see now what's going to be the play for Genki. Does still have 9 Dawn available to him. If you're counting the 1 Dawn that he uses for the 5 Elder Stars effect, then another 8. We're looking at 2, maybe a little bit more attached to the Venus Juro. Will it be the Mars first though? Here is just gonna be 1 Dawn, it looks like. Still deciding, giving the card a little spin and maybe wanting to see what's going to be the right choice here. He could also use the 1-cost Equilibrium event in order to get rid of this 6-cost Uta. So technically it's possible here for Genki to destroy both the blockers and go in for a 12k swing, but I don't know if that's going to be enough for lethal. That's going to be 6 by 7 by 12. That's 1 plus 2 plus 7k counter, and Azu will have a total of 6 plus 2, 8 hand cards after he destroys this Marco. Let's see how he decides to go for this though. I believe Azu is going to block this next couple of swings. First, he will have to counter out of the Venus Juro in case it just happens to be a three-way split. But remember, with only one Dawn, we are going to spawn another Venus Juro from this 5 Elder Stars. So there's going to be at least another 4 attacks, and Azu has to counter out of every single one of them with only 2 blockers on the board. Let's see how that split is going to be now though. We just saw the tiebreaker rules as well as the time call procedures. If the first player's turn is currently happening, we're going to see another 3 turns played out, and it is currently Genki's turn. So what are the 3 turns going to be like? This 9 Dawn is going to be crucial, and let's do the math a little bit here for Genki. What is he really considering? 1 Dawn on the Nasjuro, maybe another 2 Dawn on the leader will be 2 8k swings. With the 5 Elder Stars effect, it will be another Nasjuro on the board. So let's count it out, ladies and gentlemen at home. 1 on the Nasjuro, 2 on the leader, 6 Dawn left. That is going to be 8 by 8, a 12k swing. 1 Dawn is used for the 5 Elder Stars, and then another 12k swing will be all that she wrote. Alternatively, Genki can always go for another turn, but he has to counter out of 12, 12, 12, 13, which is way too much for what he currently has available. He will have to counter 6, 12, and 12, which I don't think he has enough for just right now in his hand. So first, we're going to see a 8k swing with the Nasjuro. The horse is on the move. 3k counter now for Azu, and the tables have now turned. What is going to be his play? He's gonna have to think now. Leader effect is still not used, so can counter out of this swing and also use a 1k counter to make it out alive from the attack of Venus Juro. But again, remember, if he does not block with the Margot here, 3 Dawn can tap for the empty throne and Marcus Mars can appear on the board, which will then allow Genki with his 5 remaining Dawn after to go 12 with the 5 Elder Stars, and then put 4 on the Imu and 1 on his Nasjuro and go for another 12k, 10k, 8k swing. Leader effect now discards the 10 cost blocker Newgate. His father will now protect him, and 1 cost Izo as well. Leader effect now used. Azu with only 4 cards left in hand, 2 blockers still available on the board. Leader effect is used, discarding the Peter to put this 10 cost 5 Elder Stars back up to a 12k attacker. Will the 12k attack come down first, or will it be the leader swing instead? Here is 2 Dawn now, going to be maybe attached to this Imu leader. It is 8k swing now from the Imu leader. It is going to be 3k counter again from Azu. He does have it in hand, but the remaining cards are all bricks. It may have to come down to the Marco blocking here, because that will give him the 2 cards that he really wants to see from the top of this deck. Hopefully gets another 2 cards with counter printed on the side of them. Remember, Genki still has 6 Dawn open. He can just KO the Uta as well, but then he does still have to get through this Mako. So a 12k swing from the 5 Elder Stars will probably still have to make its way down. Genki does have to play around the Goldie Roger. He doesn't have enough counter in hand. Only 6, 4, and still a little bit of counter left. We are going to see Marcus Mars now on the board. 3 Dawn is tapped. Equilibrium is going to be discarded. 2 Dawn, 2 cards drawn for Azu. Now a 12k swing with the 5 Elder Stars. He's drawn into no counter plus a 1k counter. 12k swing is not going to be able to be countered with this hand. The Uta will have to block out of this. Now the 5 Elder Stars effect is going to happen. 1 Dawn is tapped. We're going to see the 5 Elders make their way onto the board again. The Venus Juro is going to be able to make an attack. Saint Saturn, Saint Jupiter, Saint Mars, Saint Top Man Mercury all on the board. Saturn will allow him to look at the top 5 again, looking for more counter value, which he will not need because he really wants to send 4 game this turn. 2 Dawn attach onto Venus Zero. It's not enough from Azu. That is going to be the game for Genki, despite what an abysmal start for him. Having his 4 Dawn plate bounce back to his hand, he still is able to take the game for the Tokuda Pirates, make it to the finals of the 3-on-3 Autumn. Oh my goodness, what a game down to the very last turn. And the only out there for Azu is to draw 2 2K counters, and he does not find it. Wow, what a game. And we're heading right into the finals. Ladies and gentlemen, friendos and randos, we will see you next video.